welcome to Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. We are here at Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center, the home of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A big ACC matchup between the Irish and the visiting North Carolina Tar Heels. Hi, everybody. Welcome to South Bend. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, very glad you're with us. And we've got tonight really one of the best stories in college basketball. A former walk-on who 2 years later is playing like an All-American. And, of course, we speak of the Heels, Luke May.
Well, Luke May is averaging 18 points, almost 11 rebounds, shooting 49% from three-point range. And in the 4 games headed into Boston College, he was struggling a little bit. But against Boston College, he had 32 points, 18 rebounds. And he's got to be productive in this game against Notre Dame because Joe Barry is averaging 24 points on the road. He's been carrying the Tar Heels away from the Smith Center.
Meanwhile, the Irish come into this game shorthanded. Let's find out exactly how shorthanded they are. Here's Maria Taylor.
You're right, Dan. They're dealing with injuries that are very impactful. Bonzi Colson, the leading scorer and rebounder, he's out until March with a fractured foot. Now the senior guard, Matt Farrell, has missed the last 2 games with a sprained ankle. Tonight will be the first time he's dressed since the injury. Mike Bray telling me that they will only use Farrell in an emergency situation, and he really wants to get him back in practice and ready to start by Tuesday, but he will be on the bench and available if necessary, guys.
And you can see the impact they have. The 2 of them average better than 37 points per game. And in the last 2 games, the Irish, one of them is a win, mind you, over Syracuse, but then a loss in their last game to Georgia Tech. Notre Dame averaging only 52 points per game without Colson and Farrell. Where will the offense come from for the Irish tonight? John Gaffney, Jamie Luckey, Ed Corbett are officials, and we're underway with Carolina winning the opening tip. And for the second game in a row, Cam Johnson is in the starting lineup, the former Pitt Panther, as Carolina goes smaller. The young big guys, none of them in the starting lineup. So Luke May, in effect, the 5 right now, Jay, as Pinson misses a jumper.
Yeah, it is a smaller lineup, but Cameron Johnson, one of North Carolina's best players, and with him in the game playing the 3 spot, it gives North Carolina the ability to move the ball a little bit better. They can spread things, and they've just operated at a higher level on the offensive end.
And for the Irish, without Colson and Farrell, DJ Harvey with the ball, a freshman, makes his 4th consecutive start. John Mooney making his first career start, coming off an 11.8 rebound effort against Georgia Tech the other night. Long lead pass will lead Barry too far, and it'll be Notre Dame ball. As the winningest coach in Irish basketball history looks on tonight, Mike Bray with 395 wins, surpassing Digger Phelps a couple of weeks ago. Digger is here in attendance tonight. Digger won 393 in his illustrious career here in South Bend.
TJ Gibbs and Rex Pfluger sharing the point guard duties with Matt Farrell out with that injury. And Notre Dame has had a tough time scoring points last couple of games. They're averaging about 51 a game.
Pinson the drive and the kick. Kenny Williams had a good look at a 3, but can't knock it down.
Well, early in the game, North Carolina doesn't want to settle for jump shots. A little bit harder to rebound, and Notre Dame, throughout practice yesterday and today, talked about grinding it out, like being patient.
I'm sorry, Jay. The Irish a little uncharacteristically loose with the ball early in this game.
Yeah, they only average about 10 turnovers a game. They've already turned it over twice, and they haven't been good turnovers. They're where they're taking a risk for something good. They've just been loose with the ball and kind of dropping it. This normally is an excellent passing team.
Pfluger's open. Shot fake. Wide open. Look at a 3. And nothing going down for either team in the first couple of minutes.
North Carolina's got to get the ball inside.
And they do to May. He likes that fadeaway from the baseline.
Well, Luke May has got a turnaround jumper where he can take it straight up, or he can fade away and make it on either block. Also a good 3-point shooter. He's got a jump hook with both his right and left hand. Very skilled player.
Who's come so far in the last couple of years. Mooney from the corner, a stretch 4. The sophomore from Orlando, shooting 36% from beyond the arc.
Well, John Mooney is mobile. He can drive it and crash the glass as well.
Luke May knocks down a 3. This will be a real challenge for Martinez Gebbit, not used to having to defend a guy out beyond the 3-point line.
Well, plus, Luke May can drive it as well. So when he catches, gives a little shot fake. It's not like he rises up and shoots at the apex of his jump. And so he's very good with that shot fake drive, shot fake pass.
And Mooney is fouled on the baseline drive. Hall of Famer Roy Williams at the helm of the Tar Heels. Of course, they are 13-4, 2-2 in league play. And Roy Williams relying heavily on Luke May and Joel Berry, who brings so much in so many different areas to the Tar Heels. The ACC, like so many conferences, interesting, chaotic, wide open, however you want to term it.
It's just nobody's separated.
Yeah. Gibbs, nice look, but Gebben can't handle it. It's out of bounds to Notre Dame, and it looks like Jamie Lucky, the official, might be a little bit shaken up. I think there was a bit of a collision on the baseline there.
I hope he's doing okay. I know John Gaffney's playing hurt with a little Achilles problem, but see Theo Pinson.
Left foot came up.
Looked like he cut a foot.
Yep.
You'd mentioned before that Roy Williams is relying heavily on Joel Berry and Luke May. I don't think he wants to. I just think that's exactly the way things have fallen.
How about that? The soft touch from outside. And Notre Dame on top.
Well, Notre Dame wants to stretch out this North Carolina defense and move the ball from side to side and run a lot of different sets to get their guys open.
And the soft touch for Kenny Williams at the other end to put Carolina back on top. That three by Gebben last time down the floor, the first of the season for Gebben. I guess when he's covering Luke May, he's going to try to play a little bit like Luke May. But in all seriousness, Gebben, a much improved player from the last couple of years as Harvey knocks down the long two.
When DJ Harvey was shooting yesterday, Mike Bray was getting all over him to rise up, to use his legs on his three-point shot, and was telling him, hey, you rise up in your mid-range game, do that with your three-point game, and really got on him hard, and clearly it's worked.
Notre Dame ball when we come back. The Irish without their All-American, Bonzi Colson, Maria Taylor in conversation with Bonzi after this break.
I almost wore that shirt too. I'm glad I didn't.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by Overton's, America's marine and water sports superstore.
Notre Dame fracturing a bone in his foot. He is out 8 weeks. That'll take him to late February, maybe into early March. But before the game, he's turned into a bit of an assistant coach for the Irish, trying to encourage some of his teammates and even getting some encouraging words from Roy Williams. And here is Bonzi Colson with Maria Taylor.
And how about this too, Dan? Yesterday was his 22nd birthday. The reward was getting a boot on your foot so you could start shooting on the court again. What's your timetable for returning to this game?
6 to 8 weeks is the timetable, and hopefully a little early. You never know. But I've been getting treatment every day, staying positive, and just continue to be a leader as best as I can on and off the court, and just do what I have to do to come back and play.
What's the best way you've learned to be a leader off the court, since you can't always be at the game? You obviously can't be on the floor with your team anymore.
Continue to have a voice, staying motivating my teammates, push them to other different limits, and just having fun. Telling the guys to enjoy the process, enjoy the culture, and just continue to play our game.
All right, Dan said you're being a little bit of an assistant coach right now. So what have you seen so far from your team?
It's a good game. We're hitting some shots, and we're defending really well. So we just got to keep it up. We got to stay in character and do our thing.
All right, I'll let you get back to the bench, Coach.
Thank you.
Pretty special talent. You always feel a little bit more, Jay, I think, for a senior who suffers a serious injury like that. But, again, it is possible that Colson could come back this season. You never know how long it takes him to get back up to speed, 100%. There's the boot on the left foot. So they lose Colson for 6 to 8 weeks. This is their third game without Matt Farrell. He got injured, actually, in the game prior to that. So he's missed 2 full and part of a third game with a sprained ankle. So they're playing without question, their 2 best players and 2 of the best players in college basketball.
Yeah, they believe that Matt Farrell will be back and available for Tuesday. He's not practiced. He participated in the shoot-around today, but that's not practice. So if he's able to get a couple good days of practice, he can play on Tuesday. And I think Bonzi Colson will be back before the end of the season. The question is, he's got this Jones fracture, and a lot of times guys can come back a little bit quicker from that. But quicker means, just under 6 weeks, and it's still a significant amount of time to miss.
And if you're Notre Dame, and Mike Bray's talked about this, he's openly said, hey, if we can get to 9-9 in the league, not that he's you ever want to anticipate losses, but it's going to be a rougher road for them without Colson. And they're playing in the ACC, one of the, if not the best leagues in college basketball. They are off to a 3-1 start in league play, and they did beat Wichita State on their way to winning the Maui Jim Maui Invitational. So they've built up a little bit of equity. It's just about doing doing enough to have a good resume and hopefully get Bonzie Colson back for a postseason run.
Well, and right now what Notre Dame is having problems with is they're moving the ball, but then they are attacking a set defense after they've moved it a little bit. And they need to be able to get some action where they're getting some cuts and some easier movement, easier baskets, rather than going 1-on-5, which essentially they've been doing after moving the ball just a little bit.
Joel Berry with a 3 to put the Tar Heels back on top. A trio of subs getting ready to come into the game for the Irish.
You know, North Carolina's defense against Boston College was so much better than had it been the several games before. There's what I was talking about, that kind of cut. Getting the ball inside and getting something off of a cut movement instead of just, you know, moving the ball around the perimeter and then trying to go one-on-one from there. But once the ball goes into the post, Notre Dame's always been a very good cutting team. So you turn your head and all of a sudden your assignment is gone. Kenny Williams turned his head to look into the post and Rex Pfluger just cut right past him, behind him, and was able to get to the basket.
And Pfluger, a guy very important part of the team, a terrific defender. You see a trio of subs coming in. In the aftermath of the Bonzie Colson injury, Pfluger was installed as a team captain in early January. And in the first 2 games without Colson, Pfluger was terrific. But then in their last game against Georgia Tech, Pfluger suffering from the flu, had an 0 for 8 from the field. And he's not a guy they necessarily rely on for scoring. He does so many different things. But in the absence of Colson and Farrell, they need all the scoring they can get.
1-2-2, 3/4 court pressure just to slow the advance. You know, with Colson and Farrell out, players don't have to do anything different than they normally do. They just have to do what they do it harder, do it better, and they've got to do it for longer stretches.
May from the elbow. Nice cut, nice turnaround jumper.
He's so much more confident than he was 3 or 4 games ago. And he just let the ball fly against Boston College. I mean, some of the shots he was making, you might say at times, hey, that might not be a good shot, but he was making everything he put up. It was really fun to watch.
32-18 against the Eagles. Austin Torres can't finish on the follow, and Brandon Robinson back for the Tar Heels off to Kenny Williams, who misses the 3, but a weak side offensive rebound there for Garrison Brooks. Some of the names may be different, but Carolina's still an outstanding rebounding team and very dangerous on the offensive glass.
A different rebounding team perhaps than Roy Williams has had. It's not being done primarily by the big guys. It's being done by the entire roster. You've got 5 different guys that are averaging 5 rebounds a game or more, led by Luke May, who's just under 11 rebounds a game. And in ACC play, they're out-rebounding their opponents. Rebound margin is really the key. Over 16 rebounds per game. Over 13 overall on the entire season. It is an excellent rebounding team, although it doesn't look like it should be. It's not big or brawny, but boy, they really emphasize rebounding. You know, on that one, Dan, they had 2 guys on the weak side on that shot. It was a great pass by Robinson to a wide-open Williams, and then they had 2 guys there.
Williams can't finish on what had been a textbook 3-on-2 drill, but then there's Luke May again picking up the loose ball and making another mid-range jumper.
But the key was they didn't give up on the play, and just because it looked like Kenny Williams had an easy layup, he wound up missing it. He got it. It was a little bit contested. They didn't give up on the play. They went after it.
Gibbs at the point right now for the Irish, off to Pfluger on the wing. Torres, Jogo, and Burns all in off the bench for Notre Dame. How about these 2 bounce passes as Carolina made its way down the court?
Well, this is why teams worry so much about getting back in transition. When Luke May gets the rebound, he can dribble it out. He doesn't have to find an outlet. He can take it himself. But what's really important here is everybody continues to run. You know, North Carolina's secondary break has always been ballyhooed, and rightfully so. They score a ton of points off their secondary break. But one of the things that makes their secondary break so effective is their primary break is really good and always has been.
May is 4 for 4 from the field. He's gone to the bench. The rest of the Heels a combined 2 for 9.
You know what's funny about North Carolina? If you don't want to run or can't run, don't go there, because you are it's required, no matter your size, that you run.
Well, we'll see if Jay Billis can slow Luke May down to a walk as they go 94 feet when we come back.
I could race him in a heartbeat.
All right.
94 feet with North Carolina's Luke May. Now, you've got 3 brothers, one of whom just won a national championship after you guys did in baseball, right? At Florida?
Yes, sir.
Who brags more about your championships?
I do, because my ring's better.
Favorite moment ever in basketball?
Winning a national championship.
The best, now I know the best shot you've hit. What's the most points you've ever scored in a game?
41 in high school.
Who guarded you?
We played Providence, which is a school in Charlotte.
Favorite thing to eat?
Chicken pan pie, made by my mom.
All right, where do you keep your national championship ring that you brag to Cole about?
In my trophy case at home in Huntersville.
All right, Kenny Williams asked me to ask you this. Your favorite roommate?
Kenny, for sure.
94 feet.
Okay.
With one of the best stories in college basketball, Luke May, the most outstanding player in the South Regional a year ago. The shot you were referring to was the shot that beat Kentucky and sent Carolina onto the Final Four, and of course they would win the national championship. Is there anybody, Jay, that you can think of who started his college career as a walk-on who went on to be this good of a player?
Not that I can think of, but I didn't really look at Luke May really as a walk-on. It makes it seem like he wasn't a recruited player. He could have played a ton of places, but his father was a quarterback at North Carolina, and Carolina's where he always wanted to be. And you know, when he committed to North Carolina, there wasn't a scholarship available. He knew he was going to be on scholarship at some point. It just wasn't right away.
And he was playing behind Bryce Johnson, Kennedy Meeks, and some really talented big guys who got a lot of minutes.
Right now, Notre Dame has got to look to score. I mean, they're just moving the ball right now. There, it's a back door.
Pfluger into traffic, can't finish. They play on. Gebben working hard for it, draws the foul. Tomorrow, got an NBA Sunday special for you on ESPN at 9 o'clock Eastern. The Trailblazers taking on one of the most interesting teams in the league to watch, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Of course, Portland's very entertaining as well. Outstanding backcourt. Gebben at the line for the Irish. Spent some time with the Lithuanian national team in the summer. Played it very well. Came back with more confidence. We saw him make a couple of big free throws in the championship game out at Maui. He's a much improved player.
Well, he's their best post defender, and Mike Bray was telling him all day yesterday, whenever the ball went inside, he was saying, go to work, Marty, go to work. And he wants him to look to score more. I think Mike Bray thought coming into this season, Gebben could be a 10-point-a-game player. And in ACC play, he has been. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds a game in ACC play.
And what a luxury, too, a big guy who shoots 85% from the line. The three-pointer not there for Jalik Felton, the freshman from West Columbia, South Carolina, and the nephew of former Tar Heel great Raymond Felton.
Well, he didn't make that shot, but the ball movement was excellent after the baseline drive by Theo Pinson. This is a really good passing team, North Carolina. Notre Dame has been a great passing team for a long, long time. Right now, they're just down a couple of great players to make their passes look even better.
Pfluger with a nice look. Harvey can't finish the three. And Notre Dame is ice cold from the perimeter. They have missed their last 11 field goal attempts in this game, yet they find themselves only down by 1 10 minutes in.
North Carolina has so many different guys that can bring the ball up. You know, if you get a rebound, if there's a turnover, you have 4 guys that can legitimately start the break. And they wind up, I think one of the reasons, well, one, they're really good rebounders, but you don't see a lot of teams get offensive rebounds off North Carolina this season because they're so concerned about getting back in transition. They're only sending 2 guys to the offensive glass.
Again, good ball movement, but a double team on May. And it stays with the Tar Heels, 14 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Luke May just didn't see the double coming. When he put the ball on the deck, he was concentrating on making his move, and T.J. Gibbs came down. Otherwise, I think he would have passed it out right away.
May coming off a 32-point, 18-rebound performance in a 30-point win over Boston College during the week. Step back jumper. He hits tough twos.
Wow, that's a big-time move by Luke May. And there was no hesitation whatsoever.
We've seen a turnaround from the baseline, a step-back jumper from 17, a 3. He can score inside as well, has a lot of nice post moves.
Boy, Jalik Felton did a nice job there, just fouled right at the end. But Luke May with Martinez Gebben on him, instead of just thinking about going by him, he just got him going backwards, gave that little step back, and his footwork was so good. But just the lack of any hesitation whatsoever.
And Mike Bray will try Austin Torres on May right now. Torres has come in for Gibbon. Another backdoor cut there by Pfluger, but this time Harvey couldn't find him.
Well, you have to cut backdoor because North Carolina's pressure has been pretty good.
Burns, and it'll go down, and that'll snap a long drought for the Irish and to bring them back within one again.
A pretty good defense by North Carolina just until the end when they allowed that pass to go inside without really contesting it.
May sets a screen for Barry. The three in and out.
Well, Joe Barry was here this morning at 9:45 before about 45 minutes before the rest of his team got here for the shoot around. He goes early every week on the road, away, and gets shots up with Hubert Davis. He's one of the hardest working players in the country.
Well, and maybe doing all that work on the road. You mentioned his numbers off the top of the show. He's averaging better than 24 points per game in 5 road games for Carolina.
Yeah, and I think he's doing that largely because some of his teammates haven't been as productive, and he's had to take on that load.
Three-pointer a little bit strong for Cam Johnson, and out of bounds back to Notre Dame.
For North Carolina to take the next step as a team, and it's a step I believe they can take, it's going to be for the freshman big guys to really mature and become more consistent, more productive. Because North Carolina's got a good roster, and they have played well during the course of the season. But when they were on the road at Florida State and Virginia, they weren't getting consistent production from the bench nor consistent production from some of their younger guys.
Yeah, Virginia shut them down like Virginia does to just about everybody. The Cavs are on top of the standings right now with the ACC. They are 4-0, the only undefeated team in league play. Clemson picked up a win today. They beat Miami, so the Tigers have gone to 4-1 in the league. Then you got Notre Dame, Louisville, which won today, beat Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech, all at 3-1 in league play. Nice drive and finish for the sophomore, TJ Gibbs. Crowd getting to its feet in some sections here at Purcell Pavilion. Notre Dame has the lead and the ball.
That's 2 good possessions. It seems like every time a point guard misses a corner three, it leads to a run out. That's exactly what happened when Joel Berry missed that on the last possession, and Notre Dame wound up getting a run out. North Carolina is usually the team that hurts opponents in transition, but this time Joel Berry along the baseline, everybody goes to the glass, and that opens up the run out for Notre Dame. TJ Gibbs taking advantage of it.
We got a good one, baby. Call your friends up.
4 teams, 2 conferences, 1 blockbuster night.
High-level college basketball here. What a fun night this is going to be.
Monday on ESPN.
It's our next Sonic Blockbuster, an ACC Big 12 doubleheader. The ACC game, Duke at Miami. Miami's playing really tough in recent years, taking 3 of the last 4 from the Blue Devils. Miami losing to Clemson today. Duke had another big performance from Marvin Bagley III. What else is new? 30 points and 11 rebounds as they beat Wake 89-71. You will be in Morgantown. The Mountaineers had their 15-game winning streak snapped today by Texas Tech. The Big 12 was nuts today, and it looks like it's going to be nuts for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a team maybe with 5 losses that winds up winning the league. Every year, the last 13, that team has been Kansas. But right now, I think West Virginia may be the best team in the league, and beating them at home is going to be a tall task. That's 6 for 6 now in the game for Luke May. Rest of the team, I think, is 2 of 17.
Correct. Also from the Big 12 today, if you haven't heard about it, you will, and you'll see the highlights as well. TCU scored 97. That's the good news for the Horned Frogs. The bad news, Oklahoma got 102 in overtime, and Trae Young had 43 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and the best. Yes, he had 9 turnovers. But the best player in the country, I think most would say this year, had another phenomenal game for the Sooners this afternoon.
Well, it's been between Trae Young and Marvin Bagley III as to the best player. and certainly the most productive players. I mean, with Marvin Bagley's 30-point game today against Wake Forest, that's his 5th 30 or better game of the season. That's an ACC freshman record, and there have been some pretty good freshmen in the ACC. You know what's really odd to me about the Big 12? Okay, so the Big 12 went from being the Big 8, right? So it's Big 8 to the Big 12. All Big 12 records don't include Big 8 records.
Right.
So any Big 12 record doesn't include guys like Danny Manning and Wayman Tisdale and the like. And I don't understand, like the Big East took all their records with them, and it's not the same league. The Big 12 they had a couple teams leave, they had a couple teams come in. Why they don't have the old records as part of their league just drives me nuts.
I thought you were going to say what my kid said to me when all the changes started happening, when he said, "Dad, why does the Big 12 have 10 teams?"
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's actually the weirdest thing about the Big 12.
Because this is the NCAA, son. Nothing makes sense.
And let's not even get started on how many teams are in the Big 10 right now. And who's in and what's East in the Big East, but we digress. 20-18, Carolina leading Notre Dame. Undermanned Notre Dame by 2 as Mooney fouls Sterling Manley, the big freshman from Pickerington, Ohio. Second game in a row where Roy Williams has gone with a smaller starting lineup, not starting any of the freshman bigs, but Manley still an important guy off the bench now for Carolina.
Sterling Manley is long. He can affect shots around the rim. He's becoming more comfortable in running. And that's been the biggest adjustment for Sterling Manley, is how quickly you have to get up and down the floor playing for North Carolina.
Mooney to the bench with his second foul. The Irish get smaller as Harvey comes back in.
And Manley had a really nice game and a nice contribution against Boston College. He had 9 points and 5 rebounds in that one. And last time I broadcast a North Carolina game, I think was Tennessee, and he had 10 points and 8 rebounds in that one. I thought played really well.
Harvey with May on him. Interesting matchup right now. Gibbs left alone for a moment and gets the bounce.
You can't give TJ Gibbs any space. And he's been a much more aggressive offensive player this year, but now he's the #1 guy in the scouting report. Opponents they know they have to stop TJ Gibbs, and then they go to Pfluger and Harvey after that. So everybody's moved up and having a target on their chest.
Pfluger called for the foul. And Gibbs, although he's just a sophomore, you can see he's got a voice on the floor calling his teammates together. And he has said in a very good way that in the absence of Colson and Farrell, he knows that he and Pfluger need to step up. And even though he's just a sophomore, not afraid to do that. Let's get more from Maria.
TJ Gibbs, too, he comes from a family of 2 older brothers that play overseas. So I was talking to assistant coach Ryan Ayers, who works with them a lot, and he says he can tell just from growing up that he's kind of always had this boisterous voice about him, and now he's able to use it on the court. And he said it, too. Without Bonzie Colson's voice out there, he has to be the one that steps up vocally.
Yeah, 2 very good basketball older brothers, Sterling and Ashton, as Maria mentioned, both overseas. When you're the youngest of 3 basketball playing brothers, you better grow up with a voice and some toughness. Pfluger with a corner 3, and the Irish tie it at 23.
Well, good penetration, and for some reason in college you see guys come off of corner shooters. You never see that in the NBA, and I can't imagine why you would ever want to come off a corner shooter.
Barry getting down on the deck along with Jogo to tie it up.
Rex Pfluger from Dana Point, California, went to Mater Dei High School, and just off that high ball screen, you get caught in no man's land. Kenny Williams coming off of Rex Pfluger. He really didn't need to be there because Sterling Manley was right there, and so all of a sudden TJ Gibbs would have to shoot over a guy who's 6'11" with long arms for a really tough 2. Instead, you come off a guy who is just setting up there for the easiest 3-point shot on the floor. You can't come off a corner shooter.
What's a bigger sin, over-helping or not helping enough if you're off the ball?
Do I have to choose? Don't do either one. Sound like one of my kids. Dad, which of these bad things would you
be okay with? Yeah, hypothetically speaking. Wide open corner 3. Jogo.
What a great pass. Giving up a tough 2 for an easy 3. That was a fabulous pass off the offensive rebound.
And undermanned Notre Dame giving Carolina a battle right now. No Colson, and to this point, no Farrell, and we don't expect to see Farrell tonight. He is dressed, but is very unlikely to play, we are told. May inside. Manley over Gevin. Carolina back on top.
Boy, nice move by Sterling Manley. Caught the ball. He's a very skilled post player that has good post moves. His issue is strength, and he is getting stronger, but that was a really strong move.
Harvey driving on May, and there's Manley over to help out.
Now, I have always said that the best time to shoot a three is after an offensive rebound. After Martinez Gevin gets this rebound, first of all, nobody boxes out for North Carolina. Nobody. And that was a great pass by Martinez Gevin to Nikola Jogo, who's the best shooter on this team. And that's saying something. Notre Dame has a lot of guys that can shoot it, but Jogo consistently in practice is the best shooter.
Gevin to the bench right now. Torres back in. Jogo is a redshirt freshman and really plays a couple of different positions as Gibbs knocks down the outside jumper. Another three for the Irish.
I mean, North Carolina all of a sudden making a lot of mental mistakes defensively. Not blocking out, not finding shooters, not being as alert as they have been. You know, they started out pretty alert defensively and pretty good pressure. And they played very well defensively against Boston College, but this has not been a good sequence the last 4 possessions for North Carolina.
Theo Pinson will be at the free throw line when we come back. The Irish 29, North Carolina 27 late in the first half. Notre Dame heating up from beyond the arc. TJ Gibbs the latest to knock one down. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. All right, Kevin, thank you, along with Coach Greenberg and LaFonso Ellis, Notre Dame star in his day here in South Bend. And possibly the nicest person in the universe.
Next to me,
Next
present
to you.
company accepted, I'm sure you meant to say.
Yes. But being as nice as you are, you were happy to point it out. Jogo and Gibbs in the backcourt right now for the Irish, along with Pfluger. They've really got 3 guys who can handle the ball. Pfluger, shot fake, and then good recovery by Kenny Williams to get a hand on that pass.
Yeah, got a hand up because North Carolina has started to chase. Good take.
Manley there with the follow, and Carolina back on top.
Well, that was a really nice job by Sterling Manley of just getting down to the rim. He has really done a better job of running the floor over the last 4 or 5 games. Here's that double drag that Notre Dame likes to run. Good pass.
Barry recovers on Harvey, who steps back and hits a tough jumper.
He went right into the chest of the defender, knocked him back, and then had a little Luke May step back.
Harvey, very talented young player, the freshman from Bowie, Maryland. May, who's had a terrific first half, had a mismatch on Pfluger, missed it and missed again. And still gets it back.
Good pass.
Barry wide open.
Boy, North Carolina, that wasn't a vintage rebounding sequence, but they kept the ball alive. I mean, Manley was there to get the May miss, and then May wound up being available and just kind of going after the ball. And it's because so many bodies go to the glass and make themselves available to grab an offensive rebound. You know, last year they had guys that were wedging in because they were so big and talented and older. But it was because of their size that I think they were so difficult. I think it's a gang rebounding mentality that makes North Carolina a great rebounding team this year.
Gibbs with a drive, and the Carolina bench is screaming that should have been basket interference, but Notre Dame gets credit for it.
Well, it certainly looked like it was hit. I thought it might have been hit below the rim through the net, but that would still be considered basket interference.
And Roy Williams still shaking his head with his hands on his hips. Down to May again, kicks out to Barry. Back-to-back threes for Joel Barry.
Great pass out. You know, North Carolina looking into Luke May. He was guarded by Rex Pfluger the last 2 times. North Carolina arguing about that basket interference, what they thought was basket interference by Notre Dame.
We'll get another look going to break.
And he
Irish
was right.
Get a break.
Roy was right.
Richard Digger Phelps, the head coach here in South Bend for 20 years, and until the last couple of weeks, the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, 393 wins. Mike Bray just passed him a couple of weeks ago, now at 395. Digger still very present here in the Notre Dame program at every game, sitting on the baseline. And a fiery personality then and now, Coach Phelps.
My good friend Digger Phelps picked me up at the hotel this morning and took me out for coffee. When we got to the coffee place, he walked in and said, "One Digger and whatever he wants." And they had his coffee. They had the Digger ready in 2 seconds. Not even the usual. Give me the Digger.
You know you've made it when you have a coffee named after you. DJ Harvey may have a little
contact lens.
Cut, some blood maybe. Going to go over and get a little bit of work.
I think it's contact lens. Yeah, you get. It's a free timeout for a contact lens. Other things they'd have to take you out.
Jamie Lucky telling the Notre Dame players, all right, let's get back out there. There's the big Monday doubleheader, the Sonic blockbuster, Duke and Miami in the early game, and then Kansas and West Virginia in the second game. Kansas survived today, beat K-State by 1 at Allen Fieldhouse.
For Notre Dame to have so many excellent free throw shooters at the end of a ball game, if Mike Bray has a lead, to be able to march your players to the free throw line and know they can knock down free throw after free throw is an awfully good feeling as you go down the stretch.
76% as a team on the season. Last year they led the nation at 80% as a team.
Notre Dame really hasn't played any zone thus far in the ball game. And zone has been a staple. Gebbin's going to get a foul right there on the screen. Ran right through Kenny Williams. But you have to figure that, Mike Bray is going to want to play some 2-3 zone throughout the course of the game just to keep TJ Gibbs and Rex Pfluger fresh, because he can't take either one of those guys out.
Yep. Second foul on Gebbin, 7th on Notre Dame, so Kenny Williams is at the line for North Carolina. And misses the front end, down with the rebound. Jogo's getting some significant minutes off the bench in the first half here for the Irish. Gebbin wants to post on May.
Go to work, Marty.
Left hand, too strong. Boy, a nice move. Left hand jump hook, just couldn't finish.
And there's the continued defensive rebounding issue. Another offensive rebound given up by North Carolina.
And Notre Dame, not really known as a rebounding team. They've done a nice job in ACC play. They put a bit more of an emphasis on it since the injury to Colson. Everybody's doing their part. Back down to Gebbin again, and fouled from behind by May.
The funny part is that Notre Dame doesn't really want more than a couple guys going to the offensive glass. They want to make sure they have good defensive balance so they're not giving up points in transition to North Carolina. So their guards are basically, when a shot goes up, they're getting back. Their first step is like an outfielder with a fly ball. Their first step is back.
Second foul on May. You can see he goes to the bench. He's got 13 points and 9 rebounds here in the first half. And here's Gebbin, an excellent free throw shooter with the line for Notre Dame.
Luke May's had 3 games this year, not including this one, obviously. 3 games where he's had a double-double by halftime.
Crazy.
Boston College, Davidson, I think it was Arkansas in the PK 80. And this would have been number 4 with a double. Some guys don't have 4 double-doubles on the. Really good players don't have 4 double-doubles on the season. This would be his 4th in the first half.
Gebbin knocks them both down. He'll come to the bench because he's got 2 fouls, so Mike Bray will protect him a little bit and bring Austin Torres back into the game. And May's got to watch. Roy Williams does not want to risk putting May back in even on offense because he's got 2.
It is easier to slow a game down than it is to speed one up. And Notre Dame, playing at home, has slowed this game down to the tempo that it wants. North Carolina's had to play 5-on-5 instead of playing most of this game in transition.
Out of bounds, and it's Carolina ball. It was off Pfluger, so the Tar Heels will get it back with the shot clock turned off.
And North Carolina, they'll run their out of bounds play. If they get something easy, they'll take it, but otherwise they're going to play for the last shot. And a lot of times what they've done here is they've let Theo Pinson attack off the dribble. Now they're going into 2-3 zone.
Barry's on the bench with 2 fouls as well.
Mike Bray calling an audible.
Johnson knocks down a 3. Less than 3 seconds to go. And Pfluger's 60-foot attempt misses wide left, and North Carolina led by Luke May with a 3-point lead over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish at halftime, 40-37 here in South Bend. Got a good one in the ACC, and at least 20 more minutes of action to come from Purcell Pavilion. North Carolina 40 and Notre Dame 37. Time for the halftime report. Kevin Connors, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg. Welcome back to Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. A really good first half here in South Bend between Notre Dame and North Carolina. Luke May, big numbers, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. TJ Gibbs, one of the leaders for the Irish, who without Bonzie Colson and without Matt Farrell are down by only 3 to North Carolina. Should Roy Williams not feel great about only being 3 points ahead? How'd you feel about the Tar Heels in the first half?
I don't think Roy Williams feels great about this at all. And, North Carolina wants to get a faster tempo, and the only way you can do that is defense and rebounding. You're not going to speed a team up by taking quick shots. And North Carolina, if they want to stretch this lead out, is going to have to do a better job defensively and a much better job on the glass.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's find out how Roy Williams feels, because moments ago he visited with Maria.
All right, Coach, 14 second chance points for Notre Dame. How do you eliminate those in the second half?
Do a better job of boxing out. We got some ourselves, but that's way too many for us. And we've been all year one of the leading teams in our league on the defensive board, so we got to do a better job.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Both teams with 10 offensive rebounds in the first half. If you said to Mike Bray the rebounding will be even and it's 22-21 Notre Dame, Mike Bray would take that as a win to be even on the glass with the Tar Heels.
Well, just to stick in this game so they have a chance to win it. And, Mike Bray is very confident in his team's ability to rebound. It's not as good of a rebounding team as North Carolina. Great catch.
Martinez Gebben.
That ball was deflected, and Gebben still caught it. He has had an excellent game so far. I think that's his 10th point.
It is 10 points, 4 rebounds, and a couple of blocks for Gebben. And as you mentioned in the first half, he's averaging a double-double in ACC play, better than 10 points, 10 rebounds per game. May, a very unselfish player, off to Johnson, who misses the jumper. Now Notre Dame looks for the lead in a game, Jay, that's been played entirely in a 6-point window. Carolina's biggest lead is 4. Notre Dame's biggest lead is 2. Good cut. Mooney. Gebben. Harvey. And I think we got a foul call as well. The basket's going to count, and there's a foul.
Boy, Notre Dame on that play just pushed North Carolina around. The bigger bodies of Martinez, Gebben, John Mooney, and then you got DJ Harvey just waltzing right in there. And Roy Williams mentioned it to Maria Taylor. We got to do a better job boxing out, we being North Carolina. There were no box outs there at all.
And now on the missed free throw, Notre Dame comes up with it again, and there's another Carolina foul. And was that May?
Well, North Carolina, this is starting to become a little bit of a pattern on the road. That the Tar Heels have shown a little bit more fight at home than they show on the road, and it has to be the same amount in both places.
Harvey misses the 3. The last foul, by the way, was on May, and it's his 3rd. Pinson driving, kicking, and the finish for Williams.
A great attack by North Carolina. That just shows so many guys can grab a rebound and take the ball the other way for Carolina with this lineup. Big guy would have to make an outlet, but so many of the smaller players they have can start the break on their own.
Williams grimacing. He got knocked down, got back to his feet very quickly, but grimacing as he got back up and reached down for his right leg once. We'll keep an eye on that. Gibbs keeping the dribble alive. Now Gebben. Gibbs with a floater. Knocked away, but Carolina retains possession. And they're running again. Barry can't finish.
You don't see Joel Barry miss many of those. He's a really good finisher near the rim.
Pfluger leans in. Looked like he was trying to draw the foul. Didn't get the call, didn't get the bucket. And Carolina running again. Harvey called for the foul, though. Or did they give it to one of his teammates? Gibbs is going to get called for the foul. Harvey went skying up, but it was Gibbs who committed the foul.
Well, another really good break by North Carolina to get the ball out quickly, and Notre Dame lost a man who fell and just didn't get, their big guys couldn't get back fast enough. And North Carolina needs to do that as often as possible to get out and run.
Big Monday this week on ESPN is a Sonic blockbuster doubleheader. Marvin Bagley III, number 7 Duke, take on Miami in the first game. And then Mr. Billis will be in Morgantown for the second game. Kansas and West Virginia, both games also available on the ESPN app. Morgantown, one of the more unique and one of the more hostile environments in college basketball.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
and they're coming off a loss today, so they'll come into it grumpy. A tough loss against Texas Tech.
How do you tell when Bob Huggins is grumpy versus not grumpy?
Oh, he's the Huggy Bear. It's all just an act. One of the game's great coaches. One of the sport's really great coaches.
And one of the great guys in the game, really.
How about Gevin? How good has he been?
Well, right now Notre Dame is out scrapping and out fighting North Carolina. And that's why the Tar Heels, without Matt Farrell, without Bonzie Colson, are neck and neck with North Carolina.
Williams back to May, and an offensive foul. Gevin steps in and takes the charge.
Go to work, Marty. How many times did Mike Bray say that yesterday when the ball went inside? And you can see, Martinez Gevin is having to play a lot of minutes, but he is playing at a really high level. Just a really good job of getting outside the lane, setting his feet, and being there as a help defender.
And you know what's impressive for Notre Dame, even without Colson and Farrell, is Mike Bray, who sometimes doesn't go that deep into his bench. He's playing a lot of minutes tonight, even with their two best players out. Jogo, Torres, and Burns have already come in off the bench this half, as they did early in the first half.
A really good play by TJ Gibbs, coming off that screen to get the ball in the wing and then immediately attacking. North Carolina not staying attached there and staying right on his hip, trying to navigate those low screens.
Carolina 2-2 in ACC play. Notre Dame is 3-1. May, not this time. Great rebound by Pinson, and he's going to the free throw line.
Couple of low screens on the block for TJ Gibbs. Just a little bit of a floppy set, single double. And he came off that catch, rip, and go baseline, and nobody there for North Carolina to cut off that baseline and really challenge. Gevin was there to take a charge on the other end. Nobody there to take a charge for North Carolina on their defensive end.
Harvey in, Pfluger out for the Irish.
How about that play that Pfluger made at the end of the Syracuse game?
Yes.
When everybody gave up on the play except for him. And that was the difference between winning and losing.
He ran past two Syracuse players who weren't going that hard back on defense. A Notre Dame teammate missed a layup with just a few seconds left. Pfluger followed it hard, laid it back in, and Notre Dame won 51-49 at the Carrier Dome. Burns. Jogo up looking for a putback, but Johnson down with a rebound for the Heels. Syracuse, couple of tough losses. That 2-point loss to Notre Dame, and they were beaten in double overtime by Florida State today. Boy, does May, you did this many years ago with respect to Antoine Jamison. How quickly does May get the ball and then release the ball up on the glass?
Very quickly. I mean, he's not a big-time leaper, but he's very skilled and just has a great idea of how to play.
Harvey the 3, Gibbs the assist. Bonzie Colson loving it. The All-American on the sideline with a broken foot. Matt Farrell out with a sprained ankle as well. And Notre Dame is leading North Carolina. Good show there by Torres, staying with Barry. Over the top to Manley for 2.
Boy, what a great look by Joel Barry. After he came off that ball screen, he went right into the body of Austin Torres. Most of the time, that's going to be called a foul. Now a little horn set, they call it slide.
Jogo the drive and the kick. Gibbs off the glass, too strong, and Manley down with a rebound.
You can see the length of Sterling Manley. He got up for that with both hands.
Pinson. And we got a foul going against Carolina. Away from the ball. It'll be Manley called for the foul. So it'll be Notre Dame ball with a 1-point lead when we come back to South Bend.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Overton's, America's Marine and Water Sports Superstore.
Becoming Notre Dame's all-time winningest coach may be a big deal, but if you ask Jay Billis what really separates Mike Brey from the rest, it's his style. What do you like?
Well, if you want to win, you go with the T-shirt and shorts. He's 3-0 with the T-shirts and shorts. Maybe the turtleneck 1-0. I think too small a sample size. But I think Mike Brey owes it to all members of the Y Chromosome Club that he continue to go with the shorts and a T-shirt. We are way overdressed in basketball, not just college basketball, but basketball.
And that was a Maui thing that Coach Brey debuted there, and they won the tournament. They won the championship.
And I think those two things are related.
Jogo
hesitated. If he came off firing, that was a good shot. But after the shot fake, he still had a defender right in his grill.
And Carolina looking to reclaim the lead. Robinson shovel pass. Johnson ripped away. Both Gevin and Mooney were there. And now Notre Dame looking to run. Harvey's got a good look for a three. And Notre Dame yet another offensive rebound.
Just keeping the ball alive. Both Gevin and Jogo right there. And there was an example. Harvey had a wide open shot there. I think Mike Brey would tell him, there's where you need to use your legs a little bit more. He was really on him about that because he's a really good shooter.
The Irish now with 15 offensive rebounds. Mooney misses a corner three. Very nice look ahead. Baseline Robinson. It's still loose. And Manley, eventually a held ball.
What
is the call? And that's going to keep it at this end of the floor. The arrow favoring North Carolina.
For a held ball, don't two people have to have possession of it? I don't get that one. I thought it would have been a foul, but how's that a held ball? That's not a held ball. That's a North Carolina rebound and a foul is what that is. It's a bad call.
Harrison to Brooks now in for Manley. Johnson for three. And the rebound down to Mooney.
North Carolina not getting anything really inside. All their shots basically have been jump shots.
Gevin having to post up well off the block. Now just bowling his way inside. Keeps it alive, but it winds up in the hands of the Heels.
Luke May could use a touch right now.
Johnson misses the three. Good block out there by Pfluger to keep May off the glass. Sports Center tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Big game of the NBA. The Warriors are in Toronto. The Raptors just roughed up the Cavs. Now they take on Golden State tonight. Trae Young goes off for 43 in an overtime win against TCU. And key moments in reaction to divisional round NFL playoff Saturday. All kinds of craziness in college basketball. Great games in the Big 12. A double overtime game in the ACC with Florida State beating Syracuse. And we got a good one on our hands here tonight with North Carolina and Notre Dame.
Well, if you can call it a start, this is the best start that the Toronto Raptors have ever gotten off to in the NBA. To this point in the season, the Raptors have played so well, especially DeMar DeRozan.
You are making friends north of the border, my friend.
Well, I could use one at least. Wouldn't mind having one.
Well, you're still on a probationary level with me. Torres now in for Gevin.
If you don't have anything early, Notre Dame wants to grind it out and make North Carolina guard, make the defense make a mistake. So you don't want to get it too deep in the clock where you got to take something you don't want, like that.
Yeah, Gibbs throws it away. Robinson one-on-one, adjusts in the air, and Robinson asking for the foul, but Pfluger credited with a clean defensive play.
Whoa.
Great pass into Mooney.
What a fantastic sequence by Rex Pfluger. Wow.
Very nice look inside, and Brooks with the answer for the Tar Heels.
A really solid job by Garrison Brooks of setting the screen and then opening it up and cutting hard to the basket. Nice roll. But Pfluger, that defensive play he made on Brandon Robinson, and then that pass was as good as anything we've seen all day today by any player.
A lot of contact between Harvey and Robinson, and now Robinson called for the foul. It has been close back and forth all night long, and we just saw the best pass of the night. Pfluger to Mooney. And the injured Bonzie Colson loving it from the sideline.
We got a good one, baby. Call your friends up.
4 teams, 2 conferences, 1 blockbuster night.
High-level college basketball here. What a fun night this is going to be.
Monday on ESPN.
Our next Sonic Blockbuster features a big Monday doubleheader, Duke at Miami, and then Kansas and West Virginia. A couple of Wooden Award candidates as we take a look at tonight's Wendy's Wooden Watch. Marvin Bagley III coming off another big game against Wake Forest today. And Devontae Graham, who led Kansas to a 1-point win over K-State today. You can see both of them in the big Monday doubleheader. Look at this spin move by Gevin, a little bit too strong, and Brooks down with a rebound.
Gevin's made a lot of nice moves down there, just hasn't finished them. But right now, Notre Dame out-rebounding North Carolina, both overall and on the offensive glass, which is surprising to the point of shocking, really.
Good cut by Brooks, kicks it back out, and a 3 for Theo Pinson, who came into the game having made only 3 out of 26 three-pointers on the season.
And he shot that with a lot of confidence. You know, but North Carolina has to get more production out of Cam Johnson and Kenny Williams. And right now, those two are 5 for 17.
Johnson missed some time with a knee surgery, so he's still getting back closer to 100%. Pfluger threw it away, and Harvey had to give the foul to prevent an easy 2 for Robinson.
Just really nice anticipation on the weak side. Not the same thing, but similar to what you saw Chris Chiozza do against Missouri. Just really good anticipation by Robinson.
Joel Berry on the bench right now. The freshman Jalik Felton back in at the point for the Tar Heels. Small lineup. Pinson's the 4-man right now for Carolina. And he'll drive it, get it off the glass, and this is the largest lead of the game for either team. 6-point lead for Carolina. Timeout, Notre Dame. Mike Bray wants to talk it over. The Tar Heels with a 6-point lead midway through the second half. Well, All-American Bonzie Colson unable to play, broken a bone in his foot, out 6 to 8 weeks, but staying engaged as a teammate, as an assistant coach, as a cheerleader, doing whatever he can to help his team. They've been calling him out for a huddle. Hey, get out of that huddle. Come over to my huddle, Bonzie Colson says out on the court. Maria's got more.
Bonzie, even when the game was away, guys, he was sending text messages to managers telling them exactly what to tell all of the players. So that's how engaged he is. He's in rehab 4 to 5 hours a day. He's trying to stay positive. Has never had a serious injury. He told me tonsils and wisdom teeth is the most he's ever been around a doctor. So he's fighting through this one with a positive attitude.
It's a lucky 22-year-old with all the basketball that he's played. Wow. Gavin is just having a sensational night.
Well, North Carolina did just about everything right there, except Joel Berry, when he jumped in front as the help defender, didn't grab the ball. And that was 99% positive, but just not finished. Luke May's got to get it. He's got Pfluger on him again.
Devin over to help. May the kick, 10 to shoot. Berry will launch. And Harvey down with the rebound for the Irish, and he's fouled by Williams.
Well, that's a heck of a rebound by DJ Harvey. Harvey is probably the most skilled player overall on this Notre Dame team. But you see out by the free throw line, he comes back and really gets off the floor with some strength and both hands going after that ball.
And the foul on Kenny Williams, his 4th. So North Carolina loses one of their best shooters.
There's that double drag set, roll, pop.
Pfluger, here comes the ball screen from Gavin. Pfluger goes the other way. 7 to shoot. Gibbs trying to make a play. Off balance, and who? It's Pfluger. Following it up on the weak side and banking it home.
Well, another really good defensive possession for North Carolina, just wasn't finished.
Notre Dame back within 2. Back-to-back buckets for the Irish. May again with Pfluger on him.
Otherwise, just doesn't go straight up with the shot. He's trying to get around Rex Pfluger instead of just turn around, go over him.
Pinson adjusts in midair and spins it up and in.
Boy, how good has Theo Pinson been in this second half? That's 13 points overall. But Theo Pinson also has 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal on the game.
He's not missed a shot here in the second half. Tar Heels by 4. Gibbs for 3. Got it. North Carolina and Notre Dame in a 1-point game here in South Bend. May has Harvey on him right now. Barry, high arcing, mid-range floater goes down.
He makes so many difficult shots. You know, Joe Barry is shooting perhaps the worst percentage overall of his career. He's under 40%. Man, when the game's on the line, I'm not sure there's anybody whose hands you'd rather have it in than his.
Gibbs again. Colson loves it. Farrell loves it. They all love it here in South Bend. T.J. Gibbs stepping up large in the absence of a couple of his injured teammates.
I don't know whether this is a pass or a desperation shot, but Rex Pfluger right there returning the favor behind the back. T.J. Gibbs on fire.
All right, Kevin, thank you. Got a good one. All knotted up at 60. Carolina goes to Luke May, and he is fouled, I think, before the shot. That basket is not going to count. We were just talking during the break. May's had smaller defenders on him a lot of the second half. Pfluger much of the game tonight. Here's a look at the game summary. Theo Pinson's been on fire in the second half for the Tar Heels, and T.J. Gibbs is having a big night for the Irish.
Boy, North Carolina running an out-of-bounds play they run all the time to isolate Joel Berry on the weak side. He's the guy that takes the ball in, and have him go. He's all by himself there, go to the wing, and then cut back door, and they just threw the ball out of bounds. Just a not very good execution by North Carolina on stuff they do all the time.
Joe goes wide open. Gibbs another assist. Notre Dame back on top. And good energy at Purcell Pavilion right now. May will miss a 3. Torres with a nice box out on Brooks.
And Mike Bray has received so many positive contributions from his bench. Austin Torres has come in, done a good job. Jogo
again. Barry with a drive and a left-handed lay-in to at least momentarily quiet the crowd.
And did it all with a hesitation move. That hesitation caused the defense to stand up, and he just jetted past everyone.
Notre Dame, after those 2 threes by Jogo, now 10 for 21 from beyond the arc tonight. Gibbs with a tough runner, and down with a rebound is May.
Well, awfully early for him to go for that.
And May now with a double-double on the night. Brooks will lay it in. Carolina back within 2.
Well, it's almost automatic, Dan. You take a quick shot that your teammates don't expect, and you not only don't have a chance for an offensive rebound, but you give up something easy on the other end. The defense didn't have a chance to set. North Carolina took advantage of it.
Both teams 13-4 on the season. Jogo feeling it, and that heat check came up cold. And now we'll have a held ball, and the arrow will keep it with the Irish.
Isn't heat check just a nicer way of saying bad shot?
Yeah.
But he has played really well, Jogo. Coming off firing up at the top of the key. And he is enjoying the moment. And that's one of the things, Notre Dame could kind of hang their heads and say, woe is me. Matt Farrell twisted his ankle and he's out. And Bonzie Colson broke his foot. He's out. But Mike Bray and his team, they just find a way. And they stay positive and they look for ways to win. And who would have thought that Notre Dame, after losing Farrell and having Colson out, would win at Syracuse?
Yeah. Harvey, no. Another offensive rebound for Gebben.
Just went right over Kenny Williams.
Pfluger pushed off and got caught. By the way, for Jogo, prior to this game, he had not had more than 5 points in any game this season. He's got a dozen tonight. He's made 3 threes.
Yeah, that 5 points was his last game against Georgia Tech, where Notre Dame only put up 50. And Mike Bray said yesterday when we were at practice, hey, we got to find a way to score more than 50 points. 50 is not going to beat North Carolina.
Georgia Tech picking up another win today. They won at Pitt, so the Yellow Jackets are now 3-1 in league play, same as the Irish. Carolina's 2-2. Four minutes to go in a 2-point game.
Notre Dame can look for some back cuts here as well. Another offensive foul.
Gebben got called for the foul. Williams shaken up. And a timeout on the floor with 3:56 to go.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by Boost Mobile.
He is, Kevin, and North Carolina's on his list, so Tar Heel fans will be paying close attention to that. Kenny Williams, 24 in blue, suffered an injury. Watch the screen by Gebben, and then it's the right leg. Tough to see from that angle of Williams. Better look here as he hyperextends the right leg there. It looked bad, but he's okay. He's out of the game right now, but he's just jogged back to the scores table to check back in.
Theo Pinson's been going off the dribble in this one. Now it's Barry. Good defense there by TJ Gibbs.
Oh, Notre Dame had a steal, but they are still going to get the ball because Johnson was kind of lying out of bounds when he tried to grab the ball. And now Williams back in for the Tar Heels. So how's it looking in the ACC at this point of the season? Well, Virginia is on top. They're the only unbeaten team in the league right now. Clemson beat Miami today. Notre Dame sitting there with Georgia Tech and Louisville, who were both victorious today at 3-1. And North Carolina in the middle at 2-2. Long way to go, though, to say the least. Gebben could not finish.
Well, Gebben has played so well in this game on both ends, but there have been a few possessions where he's had the opportunity to finish a play at the rim, and he hasn't done it.
May with Gebben on him. Turnaround jumper, no. Notre Dame ball. And Harvey makes a wise decision.
It's almost like Luke May hasn't found any offensive rhythm in the second half. And North Carolina hasn't really gone to him. And the times that they had when he had Pfluger on him, he didn't take advantage of it. But Notre Dame's established a defensive rhythm in this game. And it's been Notre Dame's tempo for much of the game.
Gibbs, too strong. Pfluger keeps it alive. Jogo's got it. Another offensive rebound for the Irish. If they win this game, if that's not the headline, it's going to be in the first paragraph.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. And Pfluger just outfought Kenny Williams on that.
Harvey pull-up jumper. And it's out of bounds to Carolina. Notre Dame with 18 offensive rebounds tonight. That ties the most allowed by North Carolina in a game this season.
And really, it's surprisingly, Notre Dame has gone man-to-man for the overwhelming majority of this game. Just a few possessions in the 2-3 zone. Good slip.
And May will tie it.
That's the second time out of a timeout when he got fouled. They went to that side ball screen slip action and got the same thing. And this time able to get a dunk out of it. Really good call by Roy Williams.
May, who on the season averages 18 and 11, has 17 and 11 tonight. Pfluger cross court to Jogo. Pass fake by Jogo. Drives it baseline and eventually turns it over. And now Carolina can take the lead. Barry into May, one-on-one with Gevin. Help from Pfluger and a foul.
Gevin got into him with his body. But watch this slip screen. As soon as his man got above him, he just slipped right to the basket. Watch Gevin. He gets above, worried about the ball handler coming off a ball screen. And it was read very effectively by Luke May, who slipped right to the basket. No help side there. Easy bucket for Luke May.
For all of May's skills this year, he's only a 61% free throw shooter, and he just airballed the first. Recovers to make the second. Meanwhile, the foul was on Gevin, his fourth, and Mike Bray's taking Gevin out of the game, at least for the moment. Mooney's back in.
There's that double drag. You're going to see Mooney will probably be the guy that rolls in the Gevin roll, but Mooney can shoot threes.
Harvey. Mooney the handoff to Gibbs. Gibbs driving right at May, who knocked it out of bounds. Notre Dame ball with 7 on the shot clock.
Well, that was a great defensive play by Luke May to be retreating and still be able to make that play.
Pfluger to inbound it for the Irish. Gibbs driving past May. Floater up, around. Offensive foul. The foul is on Gibbs, who is very slow to get up, still down. He had some cramping issues earlier tonight, and now asking for help from Harvey, but the basket will not count. It's an offensive foul.
Well, give credit to Theo Pinson for sticking his body in there. I think he slipped in after he had left the floor. But Pinson's a heck of a defensive player. I think, I'm pretty much on record as we give out way too many charges in college basketball. And I thought he had planted his foot and left the floor just before he was there and set.
And a huge call. Instead of 2, maybe 3 for the Irish. Carolina's got the ball back and the lead into the final minute.
North Carolina going to take their time and then get into a set.
Down to 10. Barry can't get it into May. Loose ball bounces to Johnson, who misses the jumper, and Williams fouls. He fouls Gibbs. Williams is out of the game, and Gibbs is going to the free throw line.
North Carolina went to one of their box sets with a diagonal up screen and then a stagger away, and the ball got away from him, and it wound up with a shot by Cam Johnson off the loose ball. And all of a sudden now you got a near 80% free throw shooter. Gibbs shoots about 79-80% from the line, getting to walk that entire distance from the other end with under a minute to go for a 1-and-1. So if Notre Dame can make both these free throws and take a lead, Notre Dame, with 37 seconds to go, is guaranteed to get the ball back. And we talked about this earlier. In a close game, sending so many really good free throw shooters to the line gives Notre Dame such a better chance to win in tight games.
And the Irish lead. Roy Williams wants a timeout. Well, Notre Dame playing without Bonzie Colson, without Matt Farrell. They need somebody to step up, and TJ Gibbs has stepped up, Jay.
Well, TJ Gibbs has had a really good game, managing the game from the point guard position. He has been solid defensively, and he has really been attacking throughout the course of the game. Stepping back, knocking down that near three, getting the roll, and right from the three-point line, putting it in. even though he hasn't shot his best percentage from an assist standpoint, low turnovers, scoring, running the team, and defending. Managing his cramping as well, because he hasn't really come out of this game much at all. TJ Gibbs has been as big a reason for Notre Dame being in the driver's seat right now with a 1-point lead and 32 seconds to go as any Notre Dame player.
All right, so Carolina's got the ball. You know Barry is going to be handling the ball. Does May have to get a touch somewhere this possession for the Tar Heels?
Well, you would think so, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Barry handling the ball. Oftentimes, what can happen here is Theo Pinson can handle the ball, because Theo Pinson is not a great shooter, but he is a great passer, so you can put the ball in his hands. But we've seen North Carolina, after some timeouts, go into that side ball screen action where you can see a slip out of it from Luke May. So you get that kind of movement, move some of the big guys around, get Martinez-Gebben out on the floor. But Sterling Manley on the floor now for his offensive rebounding capability.
Gebben is on Manley. Torres is on May. Gibbs guarding Barry. 6-second difference, game clock, shot clock.
Going into the box set, here's that stagger.
Torres denying the feed to the post.
Well defended.
Johnson picks up his dribble, finds Barry. 8 to shoot. Good help by Torres. Barry slips. And we got a tie-up. It'll stay with North Carolina on the alternating possession arrow.
Boy, that was one where you might not have wanted to tie that thing up, because the shot clock was going down. I think there were 3 or 4 left on the shot clock. But it gets tied up, and North Carolina keeps it.
With 4 seconds on the shot clock and 10.9 seconds on the game clock. Feels like I say this to you every week when we do a game. But man, this is fun. It's been a crazy college basketball season, entirely unpredictable, and game after game seems to be going down to the wire.
They can't figure anything out this season. But North Carolina is going to have the ball out of bounds underneath. Traditionally, Joel Barry takes the ball out of bounds. And oftentimes, the play is run for Joel Barry. So he gets the ball in. Maybe he'll get a staggered screen along the baseline, or he goes to the opposite side. They run that backdoor cut. With only 4 seconds on the clock, it's going to be a quick hitter.
So TJ Gibbs will have to be alert for that. It is Barry to inbound. A lob over the top for Manley. Left it short, and a foul is called on Gibbs of the Irish.
And the clock is still running, so they're going to have to go back to the monitor. But a foul. Joel Barry is going to go to the free throw line here.
And I think Rex Pfluger might be saying, was the foul committed before the shot clock expired? Because the Manley attempt did not hit the rim. The follow-up shot did. And we're going to have all kinds of questions about what just happened.
Yeah, the clock was still running after the whistle was blown. And this is a bizarre situation that the referees should have been on top of the shot clock.
That shot does not hit the rim. That one does. So no shot clock violation.
And so now Joel Barry, who is one of the best free throw shooters in the country, is going to go to the line. And you can see there's got to be about 6 seconds, maybe more, left on the clock. That should be easy for them to fix.
So it'll be Barry, an 89% shooter with the line for 2. Boy, Manley had to do a great job just to wrestle possession of that ball away from a couple of defenders. And an alert play by Barry as well.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, anytime there's an air ball, it's always an advantage to the offensive rebounding team.
Yeah.
Because you're expecting, as a defensive rebounder, that ball to hit the rim.
So the discussion here, we assume, is only about how much time goes on the game clock. And now it is 7.4. So Barry should be at the line for 2 free throws. He was in the act of shooting, don't you think? I mean, it clearly should be 2 free throws.
Well, it's going to be free throws no matter what, because they're in the bonus. But yeah, I thought he should have been in the act of shooting, because he was going up for a rebound with a chance to tip it in. Controlled tip.
And now they've decided to change it to 7.1, it looks like. The foul's on Gibbs. Barry to the line. Players being ushered back onto the court.
And there is plenty of time for Notre Dame if Joel Berry, and you expect him to make both, as great of a free throw shooter as he is, there's plenty of time for Notre Dame to get the ball down court and get the shot that they want.
They have a timeout if they want to use it. And it is Ed Corbett, one of the officials, signaling it is 2 free throws. Berry was indeed in the act of shooting. Irish players asking for a little help from their 6th man.
Well, they're trying to give help to a 90% free throw shooter.
Again, they have a timeout. Berry gives North Carolina the lead, and Mike Bray will use his last timeout. Well, the Irish are used to being in close games. It was just a week ago at the Carrier Dome when Notre Dame and Syracuse were tied. And watch Pfluger, 0 in green, racing into the play and laying it in with just a couple of seconds left, and that proved to be the margin of victory for Notre Dame.
Well, you certainly weren't going to win this game with only 51 points, but Notre Dame has stepped forward with a much better offensive performance. 68 points, and Notre Dame looking for 2 more at least to try to win this game. They have to go length of the floor in order to do it.
And again, Notre Dame playing without Colson, without Farrell. They do expect to get Farrell back Tuesday, they hope, against Louisville. You can see that game on ESPN2. But if the Irish can find a way to win this game and go to 4-1 in the ACC, that would be huge for them.
It would be amazing. And, you know, Mike Bray, after losing Bonzie Colson, having Matt Farrell out, had said, hey, we get to 9-9 and our tournament team. That's a win for us. And given the adversity of having one of the best players in the country, Bonzie Colson, not available for up to 8 weeks, to have Notre Dame in a position to be able to go 4-1, or at worst, at worst they'd be tied with North Carolina at 3-2.
Yeah.
Really kind of remarkable at this point.
Jogo back into the game for Notre Dame. Manley at 6'11" is going to be on the ball, trying to make life difficult for Harvey, who's trying to inbound it.
We've got Jogo in the corner as a shooter.
And now Roy Williams will use a timeout once he sees what the Irish are looking like.
He's got Sterling Manley on the ball, so with that length, you have seen at times this year when teams will put a screener on the guy defending, the defender that's defending the out of bounds guy, and they've gotten charges that way. I hate that call that officials make. I don't think they should make it, but that's certainly an option. Really what Mike Bray wants to do is get the ball into the hands of TJ Gibbs and let him come up court and make a play, because he'll have shooters around him that can space the floor.
And if a shot goes up with enough time for a rebound, you know exactly where Gibbons going.
Yeah, he'll be right at the rim.
Yeah. Notre Dame 3-1 in ACC play. North Carolina 2-2. The Irish with the ball, down by 1, 7.1 to go. Gibbs trying to drive by Berry. Gets the shot up, off the rim, follow! No good! Bounced around on the rim, but bounced off. And North Carolina wins it on the road here in South Bend.
Pretty well defended by North Carolina. A challenged shot. Luke May was right there as a help defender. But what a performance by Notre Dame to take North Carolina down to the wire. Wow.
What a finish, as that ball seemed to hang on the rim for an eternity on the second attempt.
Well, North Carolina kept Notre Dame out of the middle of the floor. They made TJ Gibbs come up the right side and kept him from getting an angle to be able to get to the basket. That's an awfully difficult shot. But TJ Gibbs almost putting in that stick back. Man, what a basketball game.
The difference between a win and a loss was that right there. Heartbreak for the Irish. Pfluger and company can't believe it. The bench was ready to erupt, and then they realized that it was not meant to be. Whereas on the other side, the North Carolina Tar Heels
escape.
There was some joy, there was some relief. but it's a W on the road for the Heels. Those are hard to come by in conference play, and now both teams are 3-2 in the ACC. What a good game here tonight. North Carolina 69, Notre Dame 68. For Jay Billis, Maria Taylor, and our crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching. Let's send it to the Spalding Hoop Ball Classic in spring.